everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Today we're taking a look at a little game from All Play called Vegas Strip. This is a game that you're going to be shocked to hear is about going to Las Vegas and gambling. But there's some casinos are good to gamble and some are corrupt. Shocker. We're not saying they're corrupt, Vegas. We think you do everything by the rules. But in this game, this fantasy world, you are going to try to work with your teammate to win the game for yourself and another player. Let me show you how it plays. At the beginning of the game, you're going to take a setup card. This is for 6 players. You can see the different number of players here. So let's say we're playing with 4 players. It shows us how many casinos we'll have. So there's 6 casinos. We'll just have 5 of them. It doesn't matter which 5 you use. So we're using Gold Rush, Sunken Treasure, Sunset Gondola, the Peacock, and Santorini. Then you'll take a deck of 10 character cards that are 2-sided, and you'll shuffle them, and you'll put them above them, giving a special ability to each of these casinos. For example, Santorini Casino has the muscle here, which says no 4 chips can be placed at that casino. Speaking of chips, each player is going to get one of the 6 suits that are in the game and take all the chips that are for that one. And then we're going to start the first round of 3. All the players on a team know which of their casinos is rigged and which is secure, and you don't know what the rest of the casinos are. Then in turn order, each player is simply going to start placing their chips one by one down below underneath the various casinos. The only thing is you have to follow the rules. Like I said, no 4s are here. This one says if you put a chip there and there's only 1, it's +3. This matters because the most chips that you can have in a spot are 2. You also have this awesome 7 chip, and it's black because you may not place it at the casino you know is rigged. You might place it at the one that your opponents know is rigged, but that's fine. The one that you know is rigged, you can't put it at. So in this case, I know Sunken Treasure is rigged. I could not place it here. I would have to put it somewhere else. After everyone has placed their chips, you're then going to reveal which casinos are rigged and which ones are your standard casinos. And if a casino is rigged, then only whoever puts the highest amount there will win this 20 chip in the middle for their team, and plus any other chips that might be there. Everyone else gets nothing. The other casino, the secure casinos, whoever bids the highest is out. And then everyone else simply gets chips equal to the amount that they put there for their team. And I mentioned for their team because you're going to combine all the chips for your team and then split them between your team at the end of a round. You'll then start another round and continue. At the game end, after 3 rounds, the 2 players who have the most and second most chips are the winners together. There's some other rules that will change too. If you play with 2 players, there's obviously no teams. And there's only going to be 1 winner. You don't share the victory in a 2-player game. That would be lunacy.
That's a good point. The 2 highest scoring players both win. I am, of course, very partial to this theming here because Las Vegas is my hometown. So, keep that in mind and everything. But also you put some vintage Detroit artwork in there.
I don't like a game that's like about Miami beaches just because. But anyway, you're not from the Strip, though.
You don't know where I'm from.
In fact, you kind of despise the Strip a little.
I do. But I still like the theming of it. The dream. Don't kill the dream, Tom.
All right. The theme actually works pretty well. I mean, the casinos themselves are very thinly veiled references to actual casinos. And the different characters give a little bit of theme as to the special abilities of them. And by the way, I want to do a shout out that I was pretty impressed with 10 characters, 2 sides. That's 20 different characters, of which you only use 5, which is a gazillion combinations. And then All Play was like, if that's not enough, they made like an expansion with, I think, 5 more double sides or something. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a good amount of content in this box for sure.
Yeah, and it's nice because those can, change up significantly depending upon which ones come up. It can kind of change up how you have to approach the game. So I agree. And they're also nice looking components. But overall, good theme, good art, components, no problems there.
Yeah, the game is so. This game falls into like a category of this slow roll auction style game. Something that I'm finding that I didn't like 20 years ago, but I like more now. The idea of I put out something, you put out something, I can put out something and even be losing in a spot, and we're giving out information about what we want or what we really want without being too. You're trying to be as cagey as possible.
Because this is a bit of a deduction game, right? You with that choice of which one's going to be the rigged and the secure casinos. That kind of plays into those powers that we were talking about. Plays into you play a piece out and it's communicating something whether you want it to or not. Hopefully in a positive way to your partner, and hopefully in a veiled way to everyone else at the table.
And then you throw in the element of that black number 7 chip, which everyone is playing a game of chicken around the table to who's going to be the first one to play their 7 chip. I really do like that element of the game, and it feeds into a larger kind of feel that the game gives. Like you mentioned, Tom, it's kind of this one of slow rolling it. You don't want to give out too much information at the beginning. Sometimes your first play might be a complete red herring, just to kind of make people feel uneasy so that the non-teammates don't have as much of an idea. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, because it also has that neat element of if you are the second highest player at the clean casino, or whatever the non-rigged one is called, secure casino, then you get the points that you bid there too. So just some little twists to kind of this bidding auction type formula.
Yeah, the most you can get at a casino, I think, is 12, well, normally without special powers, by having a 7-5 there. And then winning gets you that. The point seems pretty. At first, I was like, "Wow, you get 20. Why even go anywhere else?" But it does even out pretty well. And not being able to put the black 7 at the casino that you know is rigged is interesting, because if I see you put it somewhere, I know that one's not rigged. Well, at least for you. Mm-hmm. And it does mean there's more chaos in a 6-player game with more information around the table.
6 is a lot in this game. It's interesting because, quick note on player count, right? Tom, as you said, 2-3 players, there's not teams. 4, 5, and 6 there are teams, but with 5 players, there's an odd man out every single round. So they don't have a partner to kind of bounce information off, but they score more points. They don't have to divide amongst their team. It's interesting that this game works for all the player counts, but 5 is kind of the strangest one, I think, because not everybody gets around to be the solo player, so to speak.
It almost feels like it was designed from a 4-player standpoint. I'm guessing 4 is the best player count. That being said, I really did like 2. It's a very different experience. You are not communicating with your partner, and I miss that. I love that whole although we were not 100% sure what can be communicated or not, we assume you shouldn't be too blatant with your communication. Per the rules, there wasn't a lot of rules.
It says you're really not supposed to communicate. I guess it's just kind of through the chip plays, I guess.
Yeah, it says no table talk allowed. So anything has to be, I would assume everything that you're communicating is nonverbal, or, just through the playing of those chips, you're trying to kind of give some information. And sometimes it's easier to do that than others. I have not played it at 2, but it does sound interesting. Aren't you, Tom, essentially playing like blocking chip?
You have a set of blocking chips that you'll play. And it's kind of fascinating because you're trying to use those blocking chips to win at a regular casinos, and then you can get a lot of points, but not communicate that to your opponent. I thought it was very strategic, actually.
I agree. It was very gratifying, because if the blocking pieces win the jackpot, that jackpot just goes away. So ideally, you can suss out the rigged casino the other person picks and be like, I'm just going to block that jackpot immediately. But then, also placing those high blocker pieces somewhere that is secure, and then kind of sneaking in like your high numbers so you get a big payout, especially if you play that character that doubles the secure payout. There's a lot of systems that feed in pretty well to themselves.
There's a few things I didn't love. And this is probably a me thing, but in every game of this I played, I can never remember what color I am or who anyone else is. I was just like, who's the hearts again? I wish there was an easier way to remember that. And I also don't know that the symbols on the player powers always made sense to what they actually do. Text would have been great, but I understand the need to have it international markets. But some I was just like, okay, I guess that's what that does. Some are obvious. No fours can be played here. Okay, great.
Right.
Others,
five chips max. Ooh, that, you know.
But these are very minor nitpicks. Overall, I like it. I would not play it with someone who gets struck with analysis paralysis because I don't think this is a party game, but it's a little bit party adjacent to some degree. And if someone's going to sit there forever, every turn, and think about where they place their chip, it's not going to be as interesting. One person could really slow it down. But that not being the case, I think it's fun. And a two-player game, I want to play with someone who thinks carefully because, again, it feels more like an abstract back and forth strategic game.
It's not a bad way of putting it. I think the biggest drawback for me is that this game can be, especially with a no table talk rule, it can be a little quiet and a little sullen in terms of like thinkiness, right? No one's bored, everyone's engaged, but it's like a silent screaming as you're, okay, I'll place my 6. No, 4 here. You know what I mean? It's if you are familiar with other Las Vegas games like Las Vegas, the dice chucking one, right? That's like a rambunctious, party a minute laughter kind of thing. This is not quite that until you get to the reveal and the scoring.
Then everyone's laughing, yeah.
Yeah, but in the interim, it's kind of quiet and can feel like it drags.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we've all have a kind of a similar thing, and I think it is a slight negative. It's the best thing that I can kind of compare it to would be like a movie that you've watched. And it's like, I like this movie, but tonally there's something a little bit off about it. Like, is it trying to be serious? Is it trying to be like dark comedy? The kind of the emotions you feel while playing this game somehow feel incongruent. I know these are very vague ways to put it, but that's really the best way I can explain it, is that it feels like it should be more raucous than it is, especially because there is that reveal moment that tends to be raucous. So just a little bit weird on where it sits tonally.
That being said, I want to be clear, I really do enjoy the game. I like trying to figure out why everyone put a chip somewhere. This is a kissing cousin to a trick-taking game in many ways, because everything you play makes me think about why you did it, which is the way a trick-taking game. You play an 8 of hearts, and I'm like, why'd they do that? That must have meant something that they're playing it at this point in time. I like that same concept's here. Again, it's just 2 pieces of information, really. But I like trying to figure that stuff out. And that, I thought I would not like the 2 winners thing. But it definitely makes sense because otherwise someone will tank. It can cause someone to tank a game at the end because they can't win or because they are winning and they don't want the person they're partnered with to catch up or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So the top 2 people, that works fine. And if you do hate that, hey, you play 2 or 3 and there's 1 winner. But overall, it's enjoyable. A lot of game in here in a small package, and I think there's a lot of variety. That's what I like best, just because of the number of special abilities, and those really do affect how a game plays. So I'm giving it a 7.5.
I'm actually also giving this one a 7.5. As I shared, that little critique that it feels like it can be a bit languid until you're down to a few chips, and then you just kind of really feel that, every move I make is really counting at this point. So I do like that. I don't want that to sound like it's too harsh, but don't expect a raucous party game from it. But do expect that kind of exciting reveal when the play is done. 3 rounds is the right length of time as well. And so, 7.5, it's fun. I really like that deduction. I love reading the other players. And my preference, while I really enjoyed it at 2, I think 4 is kind of my sweet spot, 4 players, because I love being able to try to communicate slyly with my partner or play off of what they're doing when we both know the same little bit of information. So 7.5 for me.
And I'm not too far off. I'm coming in at a 7. I think that it's one of those games that are going to be kind of these sneaky under the radar type of games where some people are going to play it and it's going to be their jam. Like they're going to want to teach this to everyone they know. And I do think there's going to be some people that bounce off of it pretty hard because there are some quirks to it. The 2 winners, I think, is going to be a quirk for sure. Just kind of like, again, is it a party game? Is it not a party game? So I don't know if this has as wide appeal as maybe some of the other games that All Play has kind of put out in this line. But I do think that for some people, it's going to really be like, man, I love this game and I just want to keep playing it. I recommend it. I think it's a really solid game. I think that it carves out enough of a unique niche. That's particularly why I kind of bump it into the recommend, even with some of the misgivings I have. It is unique. It does not feel like a standard kind of bidding auction game. And I do like the team element quite a bit. So I do need to try it at 2 players, though, to see if it still scratches that itch.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Vegas Strip. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
Have fun. What happens in this box stays in this box. I don't know. That was a bad one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.